Hi, and welcome to Glitch 2600. And more specifically, this is our Glitch Happy Hour, where we talk all things craft beer, wine, and cocktails. But this week and lately, it's been more craft beer than the other. I'm currently enjoying the Iowa Craft Beer Advent box. So, to kind of show you, that's the box. And you can see there's been a few days opened because we're on day 10 today, which I'll be covering in my Vlogmas one, as I have been this whole time. So having said that, welcome. Who am I? Well, I'm Brian, aka Glitch, your friendly host through all things geekery. And normally we talk about computers and photography, videography, and all that geekery, but now it is all things geekery around beer. But on top of that, you can still ask those tech questions. We're just continuing on. You can go back and see we talked about cable modems earlier and some recommendations and what you might be looking for if you need a new cable modem, or if you want to save some money from month to month instead of renting the crappy one your ISP gives you. Well then, go back and check that episode. It's live now. And having said that, let's talk about beer. And if you're new here, please say hi. Would love to know you're here and get to know you. But we're going to get our sample glasses because we're going to start talking about our first beer right off the get-go. And I actually had the other one up, so I'm going to switch to our first beer and bring up the info. Because we're going to make this short and sweet. I did have that we're going to do 4, but the brewery came through and wants to chat. And that's awesome. It's a husband and wife team. And I want to really get to know more about this beer that was going to be on there from Parkside. And so because of that, I'm going to just go ahead and postpone that to this Sunday and talk about it then. Maybe, who knows, maybe we'll get them live on it, on the show, and they can talk. But either way, that's what I'm doing with that one. So we're only going to feature 3 tonight. And so having said that, let's get our descriptions up here and our beers, get them all good to go. Of course, normally I have this stuff set up and it's not. Oh, you got a sneak peek of the other one. So it's the Mistress Brewing, come on, focus. Mistress Brewing, Mistress Daisy, American Ale from Ankeny, Iowa. That's where Mistress Brewing is originated out of. They, let me bring that there. This one's a limited edition special release. So hopefully I have the right one pulled up. It looks like, because the numbers match up, that this is a 7% ABV and 12 IBU, which if you've caught past episodes, you know I'm not a big, advocate of whatever is measured for IBU. It really depends on what it is. If it's a hazy, I definitely don't listen to the IBU because normally it'll say higher, but it won't taste bitter because it's non-filtered. And that non-filtered has a tendency to bring fruit forward. So even though IBU, that bitterness unit, doesn't actually come through on those. But this one's 12. I'm not expecting it to be pretty high. I love they have a little saying as on here that Ankeny has always had a tradition of driveway drinking. Folks get off work, grab their lawn chairs, and grab their coolers, or drag their coolers to the driveway, drink and socialize with their neighbors pre-COVID. And we dedicate this beer to those driveway drinkers, whether you live in the cul-de-sac, a dead end, or a desolate roundabout. Daisy is an easy drinking American ale brewed in celebration of the strength of our communities and the bonds that hold us together. Malt forward with no hop bitterness, this is a true lawnmower beer. From our driveway to yours, we promise not to toss the cans in your yard, at least not while you're outside. Which I think that's fun. Their thing is good beer behaving badly, which I find funny. I have not had this one before. It is an American ale. And keep in mind, things go as beers generally have 2 grandfathers, ales and lagers. So as you look on those spots, a lot of times, your ales and lagers offshoot to other ones from dark lagers, pale lagers. You can get a Malbec, or if I can say it right, any of those from different one. A Helles is basically a lager. You do have your ambers and specialties, but tend to be between those. Your porters are still considered an ale, a pale ale. So this is in that ale family, as we talk on it. So Mistress Daisy from Mistress Brewing. Let's open it up. Let you guys hear that goodness there. Maybe pour it on there so you can see. You kind of hear that fizz go through. I'm going to pop this over so you can see it. Let's show you some color. You can kind of see there. Oh, I blocked Tapper. How dare I? Tapper and Hoppy got they came back out to drink as the craft beer gang. But I'm going to steal this back to me. You can see that it was a nice clear, bright color. Almost easier to show it right there. Clear, bright color. And it is what I would call a lawnmower beer, which is weird this time of year. I don't know that I normally would want to drink that. This time I have lawnmower beer. I want to be out in the heat doing something else, playing some basketball in the backyard, or more specifically soccer, bags, anything like that. Where this time of year I tend towards those darker beers and want to be by a fire or fire pit. Having said that, this is a pretty good. I've not been anti Mistress Brewing. Never been anti. The Iowa craft beers are all really good. So it's where you rank in there and where you come. And to me, Mistress, was close, but it wasn't my go-to ones. But I will say, of their ales and American ales, this one I really like for being an American ale. It is definitely a fast drinker, but it has more flavor than I think I've caught in some of their others. It's very enjoyable. It's refreshing from that point of view. And yeah, you don't get the bitterness on there, but it tastes like a beer. It's if you were a Bud Light, Busch Light drinker, all that, and want something with a little bit more heft to it to work your way up, you're not sure that you're ready for those porters, stouts, and those stronger IPAs or anything like that, this would be a good step-up beer when it comes to getting into craft beer. Another good one is the Gable by, why am I pulling it now? Single Speed. It's brewed with some noble hops. There's a few ones out there that are of the same kind of good entry beer where it's light flavored or light in color, light in texture, but brings a lot of flavor to it. And I would say this one is. Mistress Daisy definitely is a good beer behaving badly. And I like this one. And while I'm thinking of it, because, I can, if we're going to switch over, just remember you can follow us on Untapped. If you hover over that, it'll take you there. Otherwise, just look for, Untapped, look for @glitch2600. You can come find us there and, see what we're putting on there. There's a list that we keep that I can show you on here. Sorry, excuse me. Where you can see what the happy hours are. We put them on by the date that they show up. But this one it's light, sweet, crisp. Some other people said banana, and I do get a little bit of that banana. If you're drinking it, I'd love to know what you think. If there's a favorite beer that you have from Mistress Brewing, if you've had the privilege to have that, I'd love to know. If there's something you'd like us to cover, please just type it in the comments. We'll see it, even if it's days later. If you're watching this after the fact, you can still bring that info to us, and we would love, love, love for you to do that. So, having said that, that one was down good. I'm going to go ahead and rank it. You'll always see what we rank it on Untapped. And so if you're curious to see through there from a 1 to 5 ratio, you can do, if you pay extra, you can do in the points. but you put them in quarters. And obviously nowadays, I used to score things a little bit differently. Now I've become a little bit harder on it. So keep in mind, when I score it, 2.5 is what I would consider average, because that's the average of the line, 1 to 2.5, or 1 to 5. So 2.5 would be right in the middle. So if I'm scoring it in the 3s and above, it's still above average. 2.5 is an average beer, just a good average. So it's not ranking it as in that. Obviously, if I really, really love something, I'll probably skew it in that direction. But your drink should be stuff that you want to drink, should be stuff that you enjoy, and note that in there. So not everything can be a 4, even though I understand the science and the awesomeness that they did to create that. That's how I rank mine. So having said that, this is a great, better than average ale. It's not necessarily something I would drink all the time, but it is a good, porch beer, a good yard beer, that lawnmower beer. So having said that, I'm going to rank it as a 3, and I think that's going to be pretty good, especially bottled. You never know at that point, but I definitely get that banana and that light. Someone put heavy. I don't know what they were smoking on there, but that was their thing, not mine. But yeah, that one was pretty good. But yeah, if you go out there, you'll see our glitch happy hour list. So let's talk about the next one. I think I'm going to switch to. There's one I'm holding off that I really am anxious to try, because I really like the brewery. So we're going to do these in a different order than I would normally recommend. So you already saw, we're going to cover the Tropical Burn, which I've had many times, by Firetrucker. Focus. Firetrucker Tropical Burn out of Ankeny, Iowa. We've got 2 Ankeny beers this time. That was purely by accident. And this is an 8.5 ABV, 90 IBU. Remember that IBU that I was talking about? Because this is a hazy double IPA with hoppy mango and citrus flavors. And this one doesn't have a whole lot of other info on there. Where some places break down and put a little bit more, high gravity double IPA. This one has, they say, ISO 7 and Citra hops. But let's talk for a second, though, on what we should be drinking these out of. So let's see here. See how Pilsners there, stouts, IPAs, ales, heavy ales, as they talk about it. This one would be in one of those stemmed style glasses. And so I want you to know and look for that stem, because it brings those flavors up towards your nose and in. The last one we had would do well in these pints or Pilsner glasses, really. But the last one, the ale, would normally spend time in those pints, or like I said, into the longer Pilsner style glass or a blonde glass. But this one should normally be poured into that stemmed glass that's a little bit more bulbous, but we don't have that here. Well, we do, but that's after hours on there. I pour those in and drink those at that point. Maybe I should just start drinking them in the bigger ones and go from there. Again, I've had this one many times, and with that, that's what I want to show you guys. So we're going to pop that away, and I want you guys to see and read on what a double IPA is. So I'm just going to leave that up there while I get set up here. And we'll show you through, because that'll disappear in 3, 2, 1. No, I counted wrong. So look at that. It's like I planned it. See how it's a little bit hazy and darker in color there? If I were to shine a light through it, which we can do with our handy dandy and fun phone light, you'll notice you can't really see through it. No, because it's a hazy. That's why we call it a hazy. It's unfiltered. It's not made for you to see through. Thus, like I said, a hazy. And we'll grab that cut back. But yeah, you can kind of see that in there. If this ever focuses on. And moved my light around, and now my focus is just saying, forget you, Brian. So, a hazy's unfiltered. It has a higher IBU, that bitterness unit, but I guarantee you this is not as bitter or piney as a normal IPA, which is going to normally be in that 50 IBU range. 50 to 70. This one being 90, even for a double IPA, which someone once told me was, even for a DIPA. It's like, it's not a DIPA. So for a double IPA, that's still kind of high. But yep, I mean, it is more bitter than some of the other hazies I've had. This one does have that kickback, which is what I love about it, because I've kind of gotten on the thing. I like a good IPA. I've drank now craft beer long enough that I've developed that flavor and like it. Just like when you first drink coffee, you don't necessarily get how it is. You add creamer and sugar, and then eventually you're onto black coffee, and then you're mainlining espresso through your eyeball. But whichever way, or straight in the vein, that's where you're at from this beer point of view. Is hazies are great, but if I wanted fruit and juice, I would just go drink some apple juice, orange juice, anything like that, or make a mixed drink. And so I like a hazy that still really, really tastes like beer, and that's what I like about the tropical burn. Of course, the burn part is the fact that it is that higher ABV, that 8.5, so it will, enough of these will knock you on your backside. So do drink responsibly, and that means no roadie sodies. I don't condone drinking and driving, but if you're at home, feel free to enjoy, but just keep in mind that 6-pack maybe shouldn't be enjoyed as a 6-pack unless you're sharing it with friends in a non-COVID world at that point. So this one's pretty good. I'm going to rank this one higher because I think it's above average in the double IPA in the hazy range, because I like that IPA flavor to come through. So while it's not what I would consider a 90 IBU, it isn't as fruity as a normal hazy. So I've checked this one in before, and I've given it a 4 in the past, but that's before I changed my scoring. So this is not a shun on them for saying this isn't a good beer, but based on how I score now, this one is a 3.75 for me. So it's not a huge drop. It was a 4 in the past. It just goes more into that range. And like I said, it's still one of my top ones for it. It's just, they have another one that I know I would rank higher that they release once in a while that has a couple extra additives to it. That one is just amazing. And we'll cover that some other time in the future. Maybe. If everyone's good, I'll cover it. I like tropical mango. I like that they say fruity. It's not fruity. It's hoppy. It is hoppy. And I like a good hoppy beer. But that's me. What about you guys? Do you like a good hoppy beer? What is your favorite craft beer? You can let us know, even if you're not live now. If you're catching this on the replay, you can still let us know, what your favorite craft beer is. We'd love to know it, because we just feature it on the show. If you have a favorite brewery, nice thing is Iowa has a lot of craft breweries popping up left and right. That's why I'm covering in the Advent calendar. I'm able to do quite a few of them. Why we're shifting the Parkside one to this weekend, because I'm talking with them. They're such great people to talk to, and they're such a good knit community. Asheville has a like one, as does the Seattle area. There's a lot up there in that Portland, Seattle, for a great craft beer scene. Not that there's not good breweries across the entire U.S. I would argue we're pretty good at brewing beer. Not that I love a good German beer. So if someone has a German brewery they can bring on here, if Einger wants to come up, or Paulaner, and have the show, I'd be happy to be on that show. If there's more information you guys would like to know about beer and maybe the beer making process, maybe what makes one different, let us know. I'm hopefully going to get a little bit more breweries on here. Would you guys like tours? Would you guys like a beer festival, beer and wine festival? Working on a little idea, pre-pitching it to some people. would you like a beer and wine festival that you could do virtually and still have access to get some of these drinks depending on where you're at? Would that interest you? Would you want tours, learn about the wineries, learn about the breweries, see a little bit more on it, be part of the process? Ideally, it would almost be cool to get people's ideas ahead of time to brew our own virtually distant beer. That could be a lot of fun. If people come in there and say, if you have a set of choices, then everyone gets to vote who went on there, and we brew the beer live partially, or add the additives, and then have the cans distributed or have it available later. Would that be a cool idea? Don't know. Maybe I'm just going to brew this at home and see. I need to get some home brewing anyway. They say home brewing is as easy as making oatmeal, because basically that's what you're doing. Want to know more about that? Let us know if you want to know about home brewing, and we can talk about that. I thought, let's talk about that. That reminds me of my not friends, but I wish they were friends, Red and Link. Big fans of their show. And that's all I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to pop over here, bring up my next beer and get it ready to go, because this one I've been really excited about trying. So without further ado, that's not the one. Without further ado, we're going to pop up the, come on, focus, Green Dragon New Zealand Pilsner from Lionbridge Brewing Company. And I love this Celtic work that they put on there and the way that they always lay out. Their cans are very smartly designed and beautiful in the way that they look. So much so, maybe you can see it a little bit better on this cam. We'll see. You can kind of see it there. I need to maybe move that light a little bit more front on there because you really can't see it as well. It doesn't do it justice. Oh well, we're gonna pop out of that one. It's my hand. Bad Brian. Bad Brian. Having said that, this is a Pilsner. Remember what I said? Everything in beer really comes from two grandfathers, ales and lagers. So, with the Pilsners, you have your Belgians, you have your others. This one comes from the lager family. So, if you break down that beer between the ale and the lager, lagers are generally lighter in body and more crisp than ales. But there are exceptions, and the taste is usually clean and better served very cold. So a Pilsner kind of offshoots from that. It's considered an offshoot from a pale lager. Yes, I am reading that off a sheet because trying to remember all that stuff all the time. There's so many new beer and other spots to that I can tell you the flavor and different things about beer all the time. But rattling off something good and informational off the top of my head, it's not a computer, not always my best suit. So, there's that. And then, salute, or Prost. I'll pre-actively show you. It's not necessarily clear or hazy. It's a little bit of both. I don't know if this camera will actually give you any better view. Sorry, we'll get that camera better set up next time, but you can get a general idea. See my different things in the background there. My Tetris light, if you're curious, that Tetris light you can reconfigure and take them apart. They'll actually come off and light up, which I just think is cool. You guys probably don't think it's cool, but maybe you do. I think that I got motion in my basement where I shoot. So let's talk about this one. This is a 5.5 ABV Pilsner, all right, out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Lionbridge is out of Cedar Rapids. Really cool place. I haven't had a chance to go in there, myself. Have checked out Clockhouse. That's the sign over there. Clockhouse Brewing, which is really cool, right close to there. And Iowa Brewing is just down the street from them. And keep meaning to go to Lionbridge and haven't had a chance to stop there. So high on the list is Lionbridge. So I'll be stopping out, Lionbridge. Make sure to have some of your cool drinks to the side for me. So Pilsner 5.5 doesn't list anything for the IBU, probably because it's a Pilsner. And that is a really good Pilsner. It's a little heavier than a normal Pilsner that I'm used to. Keep in mind that's from the pale lager family, as opposed to just being a straight lager. So in that pale aspect, so that's why it's a little bit hazy from that point of view. And I think it's true to it, because sometimes a Pilsner to me is almost a little too light from time to time. So this one's got a little bit of weight to it, and I like that. I like my beers to have a little bit of weight. I want to feel like I drank something, enjoyed it. It should be refreshing. There's times, the right times for the right place. What you pair it with from a food, cupcake, candy point of view. You can't put beer and candy together. Not just beer and pizza, not just wine and pizza. But there are different things you put it with. Hot sauces go great with double IPAs and hazies. You want wings, and you want hot wings, and you want to be able to go hot wings for days, pop in a good IPA or a hazy, especially a hazy IPA, a New England, and have those wings. They're going to be great. You're going to be able to handle the heat a little bit better, from that hydrophobic, because, capsaicin, all those are hydrophobic. So that means that's why if you drink milk, you do better than if you just drink water. But a double IPA or a hazy double IPA has those particulates of non-filtered, which means you get the hydrophobic from the water, but those particulates bind to that capsaicin and plays them down slightly. So you can enjoy that long burn. If you're a person like me who loves hot sauces, I have a wall of them right up there. There's close to, I think, 50 different hot sauces up there, and 6 different of the last dab if you follow the hot ones. So having said that, if you're having wings, that one's good. But this one would be equally, a good refreshing one. It's just not going to play down the burn. So if you want that extra burn, have this Green Dragon. And no play on that, the fact that dragon burns, dragon fire, so why not? Add a little fire to the dragon. I bet you a hot sauce with this would be really good. I'm curious what other people have ranked. Clean, refreshing, light, seasonable, and malty. And that it has that. It does have that malt. You get that little, not necessarily maple, but that smoothness to it. I like how they say quaffable. It has New Zealand Motueka, Motueka, Motueka hops, and cool fermentation. So it's a very niche style is what they're saying. And I get that. And what I love about Untappd also is whenever you find a beer, if you go to the top, one, you can add it to your list and then take it from the list whenever you find it. Or you can just leave it on there. So you can make a favorite list, tell it, leave my beers on there. And you can have a find it list where you do that. But you can actually hit the find it button to the left of it and find where it is locally around you. So if you're ever curious, you do that search. Go to this one. Click the beer when you come to our Untappd page. Click on the Glitch Happy Hour, click on the beer, and then click Find It, and we'll try to find it in your area. If you can't find it in your area, let me know. Perhaps there's a weird styles, wine styles or beer styles in your area. And with that, they might have it there, or I might know a guy who can get it there for you, depending on export and import laws. But what are you guys having? What are you enjoying for a drink tonight? What are you enjoying from a craft beer, wine, or cocktail point of view? I'd love to hear. Love to know what you want to know about craft beer. If I don't know, and it's a possibility, I'll get the answer for you and have it on the next happy hour. But yeah, this is the Lionbridge Green Dragon. I am kind of curious. I left a little bit in there. Let's do a little test. We have some really hot sauces. And I'm probably just giving myself trouble because I already had a little bit of hot sauce earlier. But we have one called the Widowmaker, which the really cool thing about the Widowmaker is if it focuses, it's a 15 out of 10 heat. And then we have the burn after eating. So normally I would take this as a mini shot on there, but if it opens, there we go. But let's see here. Pour that in. And play up that heat. Let's see how it does with this Pilsner. Much like I suspected, just like the double IPA would, it plays down the heat slightly because this isn't 100% clear, but it does keep the burn going a little bit more than a double IPA will. If I were to take this tropical burn, for instance, so we'll finish this, put a little bit of tropical burn, it's hazy. Pretty much plays down the heat quite drastically. And that one's pretty hot, but it's not as hot as this Widowmaker. So let's do another experiment, because why not? So let's take this 15 out of 10 heat, which I love the heat. I almost think I should have the hot one show. And if you guys ever met me, you would know that. Can't get enough of that one. I know why they call it the Widowmaker. Do that with the tropical burn now. Does exactly that. Plays down the heat a little bit. And it's good with it. That's where, if you like hot sauces, pair them with a double IPA or a little bit with a Pilsner, depending on your level of heat you want. So a hazy or a double IPA, an IPA, you can kind of play it down. Or actually play it up. So the hazy will play down the heat. An IPA will play it down a little bit, but not as much. And then a Pilsner will play it down very little and keep a lot of the heat. But with that hot sauce, I have to take another hit off of it. I don't want to be impartial there. And it's good. It's very good. So this would be a good hot wings one, a good hot sauce, a good spicy, maybe it'd be really good with chili. If you're going to have some chili, why not grab Big Green Dragon by Lionbridge Brewing and pair that with it. Now, like I said, we're going to have Parkside on with us, but or we were going to cover that one. But since I have the opportunity to talk to him, I'm hopefully going to get a bunch of good information for that. And now I'm thinking of it, I know I had some good stuff from Lionbridge. So let me bring that up, which they kind of already talked about. We had the information they sent me, and I'll cover more because I think they're going to come back with more. That the New Zealand Pilsner, we already talked about the hops, cool fermentation with our House Alt Yeast yield is this niche style that is clean and quaffable with pronounced tropical and citrus flavors. That's what they sent to me when I talked to them, but that's also equally on their Untapped. I'm hopefully going to get a little bit more story about why they chose the name Green Dragon. And so we'll see. Hopefully they come back and give me a little bit more info on there. I have a feeling Parkside's going to, and that's why we're going to postpone that to this weekend. So that's a nice hint. I'll give you a quick what that one's going to be in case you want to follow along. It's the Raspberry Mother. And what's really cool about that brewery that I did not know until today, that it's ran by a husband and wife team. They have full-time jobs. This is what they do, for fun on the side. So hopefully going to get a little bit more info on that. I'm really excited from it because who doesn't want to be running a brewery on the side for fun and make it a family business at that point? It's, I've heard the stories of Boulevard Brewing where the guy told his wife, hey, and talked her into it, why don't we sell the house and make a brewery and we'll live out of that for a while? They supposedly did. I don't know that I'd ever have that level of guts or think my beer that I would make is that good. But it worked out. I mean, look how big Boulevard Brewing is now. I mean, their sister company is Firestone Walker, which makes some really good. I like their Leo versus Ursa's beer. So, having said that, and Space Camper, IPA from Boulevard is great. There's a lot of good ones. But that's the beginning journey, I think, for them. Really excited to get more info from, which is why we're going to postpone that till Sunday. So really, if you get a chance, you're watching this, come out and check Sunday. We'll post it up when we're going to do that. I have a feeling that's going to be a really, really cool bit of information. People who are smarter than me making cool beer are going to be backing that. So please come and join us. Otherwise, this has been a good Friday for me. I'm going to keep drinking and then get ready for my Vlogmas 2020 Glitch Bite. And that Glitch Bite is going to be that little tip on working with Photoshop. We've got some other ones, some good things about your watch, extra things for your phone. There's lots of good tips out there. Go ahead and check on our channel. Check that out at YouTube. Subscribe. Check out the list. You'll see a playlist for Glitch Bites. And that's where you can find and see all the stuff we've been working on. We've been adding a description. Go see. There might be something that you need to know or want to learn how to manage your passwords. This is the time of year since you're getting ready for IRS in the not too distant future and you're logging into a lot of sites purchasing. Why not secure down those passwords without losing your effing mind? So, with 1Password, I gave a little hint on there, and LastPass. So, go check those out, and then let me know what you think. But otherwise, stay tuned for another Glitch Bite tonight, another one tomorrow. Go follow Wine Styles if you want to see some of the stuff going on, and Boozy Banter, which is another show we produce. It's a lot of fun if you like this. Go check them out. They're an awesome show. Brian and Matt there. Not this Brian. This Brian is the voice you hear in the background. But otherwise, those guys, it's a lot of fun. There's a really cool show I'm getting ready to produce and drop up there even tonight. So I had a great time. Hope you had a great time. And we'll see you again here shortly. All right.